Yeah, when you think about like bond and stuff, it's
It was a weekend.
Good. Yeah.
it's between the legs.
Good. Del Mar Parade, and Salisbury Parade. They were fun.
Never doing the parades.
They were a blast.
I know. I get around to it. Like I have to put on like a big display.
Everybody ready? Would like to call this early meeting of the December 7th, 2021 legislative session of the Wicomico County Council. First on the agenda, we have resolution number 139-2021. It's a bond award resolution. We have Ms. Pam Olin, the Director of Finance. And on your table, you should have an updated copy of the resolution.
And I also have with me Jennifer Derrickson from Davenport, who is our financial advisor, who helped us through this process. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yep, you're fine, thank you. First, I need a resolution to approve, a motion to approve resolution number 139-2021.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. McCain. Do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Holloway. Any discussion? Ms. Olin?
I just wanted to let you know, I greatly appreciate council being willing to meet early today. It helps with the timing to be able to go to the market and let the market know that this is awarded in before close of business. We solicited bids this morning, and for the tax-exempt bonds, we drew 12 bidders, which is a significant number. You really need to have 3 on the tax-exempt side, and we got 12. And with that, we received a true interest cost of 1.62534%. When we went to the market in 2018, we had over 3% was our interest rate. So almost half of what we got in 2018 is our current interest rate for this for this bond. Additionally, with the refunding bonds, we got 8 bidders, and our interest rate is 1.849233. That will result in savings of over $900,000 over the life of the remaining life of the bonds. And so again, that is the number of bidders was very strong, and the fact that the county got that many bidders in both sets is a testament to our bond rating and what we show as the strength of the county. So any questions?
On the refunding, are we refunding all of our outstanding bonds?
We're refunding the outstanding bonds that are eligible to be refunded. There were 3 series, and then in the taxable section, a portion of new money is also in that due to the nature of what we are bonding for related to the airport. So the $16.9 million that's in the taxable is primarily refunding, and about $1.8 million is new money in there because of it being needed for projects at the airport.
Okay.
I just say that's really fortunate that it's turned like this, because this is really one of our largest bonds that we've ever put out there. And to have the opportunity with the lowest finances that I can remember in a long time, the lowest financing that I've seen in a long time, that is very good.
Yeah, 2017 was, I think, the lowest interest rate that we've gotten before, and that was over 2%. So again, we beat our 2017 number. We almost halved our 2018 number. And yes, this is one of the largest, if not the largest, we've ever gone for.
Sure, good.
And just to add, the projections that we were estimating for today's sale, the actual rates today came in under those projections as well. So you did better than we had initially anticipated.
It's obvious that competition is great. Do you know why there were 12 bidders?
I think it was a combination of, the county's high credit rating, just the size of the bond issue, as well as, the last time you were in the market was 2018. So I think investors were very interested in buying the county's paper today.
Any more comments, questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of resolution number 139-2021, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Chair votes aye, and we have 6 ayes and 1 absent. The bond passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Hurley?
Okay, next we have several open work sessions. The first open work session is a request to relocate 2,770.9 square feet of a forest conservation easement located at 104 Paddock Drive in Fruitland, Maryland. And this is going to go to an off-site mitigation bank. And we have Ms. Marilyn Williams here, Land Development Coordinator with the Department of Planning, Zoning, and Community Development.
Ms. Williams?
Thank you. You looked at and approved a similar request earlier in the year in the same subdivision. It's a subdivision where the forest conservation areas were placed on each of the individual lots, which really prohibits a lot of expansion within a lot as far as any accessories. So in this case, the owner is requesting again that the forest conservation area that was placed on his lot be put into an off-site mitigation bank, and that's the request for you.
All right, questions? Mr. Cannon?
Yeah, I remember the last one, because, I mean, it's taking these homeowners by surprise.
Yes.
You know, they buy the house, they maybe want to put a pool in, something to that effect. Are there any measures that the council, the executive or the council can take together to maybe not streamline, but restrict development to the extent that these surprises come about, that something we can do where ahead of time before the homeowner buys that, they don't end up coming into all these type of expenses and additional problems?
Right. I really think that I've seen, because now that I'm doing the forest conservation plans too, that the developers are more conscious of this. In the county, we really encourage that forest conservation areas not be placed on the individual lots. In some of the cities, that may not be the case, but I think that we're all very conscientious of that now, and it's not done very often. Generally speaking, you'll see, for example, Rowan's Mill, you'll see the out parcels take up, all the forest conservation will be placed on an out parcel that's not going to be used for development. And in most of the subdivisions in recent history, that's what's being done.
But if we know that it's probably the right thing not to apply that to the owners, do you think that, again, maybe Mr. Wilbur, you would opine on this, whether or not we should take some measures to make so that with the change of guard, we don't drop the ball?
Right. I mean, it's a good point because these plats have forest conservation areas on them, but say the real estate industry that's selling the homes doesn't necessarily focus on that. And then so it's a surprise to a homeowner.
Yeah, but they should know that.
They should.
Right. Yeah, all the parties should know that. I mean, they were put on there originally for a reason, but the real estate folks should 100% know that.
And we always encourage when people call and say that they're purchasing a property, you always encourage them to get a copy of the plat of the property so that they can see that. But I think that the trend is to not do this anymore. The trend is to place it on an out parcel.
Ms. Holloway?
No, I was just going to comment that, we have the same issues.
Joe, you have the pressure microphone.
Yeah, we have the same issues in some of the developments where they have, I'll use Kilburn for an example. The folks, when they buy a house there, don't know about the overflight of the airport. And they come in a few years later and cut their trees down or top their trees out. So I think the real estate industry should be more on top, like Bill says, of informing people of, is there any, I know we had the Right to Farm Act, that they have a form in settlement papers where that's revealed to potential buyers or buyers of properties. Is there any way to put anything into our real estate settlements that these would be revealed?
As Marilyn said, it shows on the plat. So I think it could be an educational issue that the Board of Realtors could explore, both the navigation easements, the glide path easements, and these forest conservation, because it's there on the plat. It's not necessarily something that is focused on.
All Maryland real estate contracts have a homeowner disclosure statement that has to be signed And so which is pretty detailed, and things like this are on there. Easements and so forth are one of the things that's on that disclosure statement. So,
It's more of people just not paying attention sometimes.
usually,
More questions, comments? Mr. Hastings?
I'll just say on that note, there is actually the Maryland Realtors Association and a couple other organizations are trying to put together a potential enhanced easement awareness act this year, potentially for legislative session, which would kind of, this is an issue obviously that comes about for a lot of different east properties and different types, and folks just don't seem to know. So that they're trying to figure out what more they can do. But a lot of times there's buyers that are unaware. But of course that has other issues when I won't go into. But yeah, so hopefully there might be a little bit of legislative fix in the future for other easement type properties.
And I might say too, that education for the realtors themselves
Yeah.
is beneficial too. I gave one talk at one of the realtors' offices. There's a lot of good tools out there that can be used by both the public and
Right. Any more comments? All right, this requires a public hearing which can be held January 4th at 6 p.m. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Harley?
Okay, next is an agreement of sale of wetland mitigation credits with the Maple Dam Conservation Wetland Mitigation Bank. This is for the Taxiway G project, and we have Mr. Tony Rudy here, Airport Manager.
Mr. Rudy?
Good afternoon. So
Afternoon.
this is a similar agreement in nature. It's almost identical to the one that we just recently went over for the runway extension project. And this is to allow us to clear trees to have clearance for wingspan down our taxiway that leads to the UAS hangar. And it's approximately 0.56 acres that we need to mitigate for. And this is a simple, it's more of a conversion. We're cutting the trees flush to the ground. We're not disturbing the.
Okay. Any more comments for Mr. Rudy? Okay, no comments. This also requires a public hearing, which can be held on December 21st at 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Rudy.
Next is a letter of support for the Salisbury Distillery Corp., doing business as the Winder Distillery Company, to receive funding from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for construction costs associated with property located at 117-119 West Main Street, Salisbury, Maryland, 21801. This is to open up a restaurant, distillery, and speakeasy. And we have Mr. Brett Davis here, co-owner of the Salisbury Distillery
Want
Corp.
to join us? You take one of the seats with a mic, and that way we can all hear you. So if you would, for the record, introduce yourself.
My name is Brett Davis. I'm a real estate developer. It's my primary occupation, and today I'm here to discuss the new distillery and steakhouse we are putting downtown.
On the plaza?
Yeah, so it'll be right on the plaza at 117, the old White and Leonard building.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Do we have any comments for Mr. Davis? For the record, Mr. Basoda has signed a letter, and so we're looking for a consensus to join him on this letter.
Awesome.
I just have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So this is a distillery and speakeasy. But the community, the housing and community development grants, they're insured loans for purchase of construction of housing for low-income families, helps with low to moderate income family buying or renovating houses, and aids nonprofit organization with grants or loans to house the elderly.
This is not a grant for the elderly or for the low income. This just happens to be through DHCD. It's called a Neighborhood Business Works loan. It is specifically it cannot be used for any of the purposes that are described. It is only for new businesses on Main Street or in like these type of areas specifically in cities within the state of Maryland. So Neighborhood Business Works was created in 2006, I believe, or right around there. We qualify like so perfectly because we're a vacant property on Main Street, and there is this is not tied to other DHCD programs. So it's called the Neighborhood Business Works program, and that's they are actually asking. We've already qualified, like they know we meet the program goals, is I guess what I'm saying. But what they're asking for is to make sure that the creation of a distillery, or what we're asking, kind of a twofold. DHCD wants confirmation that us putting a distillery on Main Street is not working against the community, and that the county council does not hate the idea of it being on Main Street. That is what their concern was, or that's what they've requested the letter for. Just so you all are aware,
Sure.
They're not asking. Well, it won't apply to those other items.
And I'll tell you, I haven't heard from anyone that is against it.
Okay.
So on my end, that's a good thing. Does anyone else have any comments?
I think it is, as you said, the particular guidelines that you follow actually is mixed use, correct?
Correct.
Which is what you're looking at with the downstairs is the commercial and the upstairs is the
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah.
And it seems to fall right in line with what the requirements are.
Awesome, thank you. And if I can actually, now that I have your attention for a minute, I would love to actually share with you what we're going to do. And because I think Nicole's question is reasonable, it isn't related to, we are going specifically for a business program. This loan is more specific to the business than the residential part. We are refinancing the property. We don't have low-income housing in there. We have 8 apartments, 8 of which are currently 1-bedrooms. We're converting 3 to 2-bedrooms. And then downstairs, we'll have a first-floor steakhouse. So imagine about 80 indoor seats right up front. No bar on the first floor. Then the city is actually redoing St. Peter's Street, so we'll have approximately 20 to 30 outdoor seats as well. They will be attached to the property in the sense that the fence will be adjacent to the property. Then what will happen is behind the steakhouse will actually be a distilling area. When I say distillery, do not think anything, it won't be something worth touring, if we're being quite frank, because it's small. So what we're going to use is an iStill program out of Europe, and basically modern technology meet distilling. It's instead of 40 pieces of equipment, it is one massive piece of equipment. You press go with all of the specific parameters in which you want your liquor, and it does it perfectly every single time. So it means there is some other steps, and we can add flavoring, and we can do other cool stuff. Well, obviously, if we make something and have to age it, we'll be still putting it in barrels. So there's still a lot of the same processes, but we can take what is normally a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot operation and put it in 1,500 square feet. So that's the distillery behind the steakhouse. The fun part about this is that all of this is one business. So because of what we're actually applying for the Neighborhood Business Works is in conjunction with a unique distilling license. So we'll be able to distill liquor in the back and then serve that up front. All, of course, only on premises. Then in the basement, we'll have a second portion of the restaurant, which we're referring to as the Speakeasy. Think of outside, we'll have like a phone booth with a rotary dial to get in, so you'll have like a passcode. Inside, you'll need to do something in which it will have a cool entrance to the basement. And downstairs, we don't want to go with everyone in the United States does the same exact distilleries or speakeasies. We're thinking more of like a upscale French-esque where you've got leather seats and it's really got that classier feel, but not trying to do the exact same thing where there's the Tommy gun on the wall and we're pretending it's the 1930s. So we'd like to give the perception of historic nature, but at the same time a nod to the fact that it's not. Downstairs is actually larger than the first floor seating, so we're looking at almost 100 seats in the basement where our bar would be located, as well as a second kitchen. All in all, this is an 8,000 square foot project. We are actually already under construction, so this is the goal of this request from you all is that the easiest financing for us in a logical or the most logical process is using state financing through the Neighborhood Business Works. The reason being is that in other loans that we have, we currently have a loan on the property for over $1 million. So one, Bank of Delmarva has already supported the initial construction, renovating the apartments, things like that. The unique part, though, is we're trying to build a distillery in downtown Salisbury. So the amount of people at banks that believe in us is limited, but the amount of people in the State Department that are willing to support small business is much larger. So we ask that you support us in requesting that the state use this Neighborhood Business Works loan, because our other banks are saying, it's just kind of a different business. But keep in mind, we will be using the same ownership structure and same staff as Mogan's Oyster House. So I think we've shown that we're going to put out a really classy product, or I'd like to think so. And this will only act as a counterpart to that. So it is going to be, in my brother's words, it'll be a step up from Mogan's, but we're serving steak instead of seafood.
Sure.
So basically, your local banks are financing using the real estate as collateral, and this will actually be the business.
This would be both. So the state loan would actually be a refinance of Bank of Delmarva, and that's where we reach
So
the
you're
impasse.
going to wrap that into it.
Yes, because Bank of Delmarva, local banks don't like financing restaurants, especially during a pandemic. The state sees the progress, and they see that, okay, they can get a little bit more creative, and so that's why we're requesting the money from them. And again, they're actually in full support. We've brought down every single individual that would be making this decision at the state, and they are also going through historic approvals, and we've gone through local historic approvals. So everyone on a local level has been asked for permission. So this is not something we're not asking you as an initial step. You're actually one of the last to review it.
All right, Mr. Hastings?
I see the owner contribution at a little over $3 million in total project of $5.3 million.
I don't know. Sorry, that shouldn't be on. That's not exactly right. It's a $2.5 million total project cost, and we are contributing 10%.
Okay. Let me make that clear. I guess the other question on my mind, why Salisbury? Why did you and your brother choose to invest into this space, into this town?
Thank you. That's a very reasonable question. So after going to school here, I really believed in everything that's been going on, and I think downtown Salisbury has the right pieces in place that other towns don't. Candidly, Berlin's too small. Most everywhere else on the shore is a little too small for the downtowns to succeed, and I mean that on like a sticks and bricks level. There's enough buildings in downtown to cause that to succeed. So we feel like the right pieces are in place, and with us getting to use this alcohol to sell to other restaurants that we own, it will make it a lot more economical. And we believe if we have two restaurants within walking distance, people will want to eat at both of them at the same type of night out.
Sure. I know your story. I read it on Facebook, and I commend you and congratulate
Thank
you.
you.
And
Thank you.
I know that building, and I've been in there many times, and I'm really glad to see that somebody is redeveloping it because it's long overdue.
Thank you. It means a lot to us.
Yep, I've visited a operation almost just like this in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they have their speakeasy downstairs and restaurant upstairs, and you come in the back door to the speakeasy.
Same thing.
Yeah, they call you in. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's kind of neat.
Cool. I promise what we're going to build is going to be an establishment that you all would brag to your friends about, and that I can guarantee. My brother says we made a lot of mistakes on Mogan's, and we're excited to show you what it looks like the second time we build a restaurant.
We'll see. Mr. Hastings, you have another comment?
I was just going to say, but not in my district, but within sight of my district, and of course, there's a new bridge at the end of the downtown which does touch my district, so a lot of residents will walk over. I have not heard any complaints or any issues whatsoever, but a lot of excited people that are excited for what could come. It was about a year ago or so we heard that this could potentially be coming downtown. So a lot of folks that could be excited. I do have one question. Do county council members get a special code to enter to get in, or do we?
I don't know if you should put that on the record.
I actually already toured it, so I got the first tour.
Yes.
And it is, I mean, it's an amazing concept. I think it's going to do very well here. I am questioning, because I'm even looking at this application, that there has to be at least 8 subsidized housing initiative, affordable housing initiative, or elderly.
I think it's a different application than what you're, I know it's a different application. What did the neighborhood business works is what it's called?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at.
Because it doesn't, we are one of the few applications they've ever had that has residential in it. So there's no actual requirement for residential in the project. Because we're doing the same thing in Wicomico, and it's just for a space for our fiber company.
Okay. I mean, all right,
Yeah.
just something to be aware of.
Oh, agreed.
What the
Thank you.
website says, so I just want you.
It's good to hear that Wicomico is getting something new. Where are you putting up a restaurant?
The old, we won't be putting a restaurant there. It's a data center for our fiber company, but it'll be in the old Wicomico firehouse. So we're restoring that.
4th Street?
Yeah, Fifth Street.
5th Street, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's good to hear. Anything else? All right, do we have a consensus for a letter of support?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Holloway. Ms. Ackley?
Yes.
Okay, you'll get the letter of support.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And congratulations and good luck.
I'll text you the code.
All right, Ms. Harley?
So next, we have a letter of support for the traffic improvements to the intersection of US Route 13 and Bosque Lane, and Vice President Joe Holloway is going to speak to that request.
Mr. Holloway?
Okay. It's hard to do a letter of support for something that you don't like, but I detest these turnarounds, and I think they're inconvenient to people. They're not good for businesses that's in the area, but and I'll put a big B on a capital B on that. That intersection has created a lot of problems lately. There's been a lot of serious accidents there. The state has done a review of that intersection. It was asked that there be a traffic light put there. They have declined to do that, and they want to go this route for now and see how it works out, and that's basically what the letter says.
So is the letter saying that you want to go back to the idea of putting a stoplight there?
No.
Just
I want to
opposed?
support this letter that we have now.
Okay.
It just says that the traffic signal is not warranted at this time. This was put forward by Delegate Carl Anderton.
Right.
And there's been a lot of support for this around the town of Del Mar. I haven't seen anything from the fire department up there, but I can pretty much assure you that they're concerned about this intersection also. So if you're wondering what this is like, it's kind of like the intersection out west of Salisbury,
Near Hebron?
Hebron, or the one down near down in Eden.
Yeah.
They tried to do this in Pittsville, but there was so much truck traffic that was at that intersection that the state finally agreed to put a traffic light there. So what I guess what will happen here is when they do this, they'll see how it works, and if it alleviates the problem, there probably will never be a traffic light there. So anyway,
Right.
That's my little speech.
Any questions or comments to Mr. Holloway? All right, do we have a consensus on supporting the letter? Mr. Camden?
Did you say you were not in favor of it, Joe?
I said I didn't like it. I'm in favor of it, but I don't care for those turnarounds. I think,
Right.
well, you heard what I said.
I agree with what you say. I
yeah.
would say the same thing. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. But
But there's been numerous serious accidents there, and hopefully that'll alleviate it, and if we save somebody's life or save somebody from serious accident, it'll be worth it.
prevents a complete crossover.
It's not going to be a complete crossover, yeah.
Right. Mr. McCain?
I'm fine.
Okay, so we have a consensus.
We're all good? Okay.
We're all good.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, need a motion to recess until 6 p.m.
So moved.
A second? Thank you. We'll reconvene at 6 p.m. and
Well, I didn't make them.